Oh, welcome back. This is Jack. Hang on, I'm just making sure all my sound stuff is good. I might up my... Oh, no, I'll just bring my mic closer. I can easily just do that. Oh, there we go. That should be a little bit better. I'm only using one light right now because my other light got moved over to my other recording spot, so I might have to take that light and then put it on my left like the old one was. Or I might keep it this way. Hell, actually, I could probably also make it look good if I were to do... Yes. Hang on. There it is. Come on. There it goes. All right, because I can raise and lower the brightness, but I can also adjust the warmth. Put it like right there, bring it back a little bit, and then just lower the brightness a bit. That's a bit better. I think we'll go with that. At least for a little bit. All right. Let me bring this back to the front. Let's see, where is it? There it is. All right, cool. Yeah, because I've got my phone mirrored onto my computer, so I can like make sure you guys are seeing everything okay. And I got my phone actually over there charging, so I don't have to worry about it. So I don't have to keep looking down to make sure that like I haven't frozen or anything. Yeah, we are going to be playing my druid, heads up, but we're not going to be farming. We're not going to be farming. It's going to be doing leveling stuff, which means we're probably going to be doing some nightmare stuff here and there. Helltide's going on right now. I'll probably dip into that for a little bit. I am not running my shred build anymore, or not shred. Crone build. I don't know what it's actually called. I'm not going to be doing that. I do need to go ahead and hit up all these strongholds and just knock them out because, like, reasons. All right. Oh, that's where Helltide is. Oh, damn. I like it when it's up here. All right. We're going to go up to Helltide. So what I'm running right now is a storm build, lightning storm build, where you stand there and just like call down lightning. It's not finished yet. I flipped over all the attributes and stuff like that, and it's ready for it. But I need to find items to flip in. Like I have some legendaries missing that need to be into the build. And I am back to using the Butcher's Cleaver because I really do like it. But the reason why I'm using it is this build is very much about critting. And I need to keep enemies away from me. So with that, it makes them run away from me while at the same time getting smacked in the face. Right now I do transform into the werewolf form. That's because I just haven't swapped out my chest piece, which permanently keeps me a werewolf. Yeah, this is how my build currently is. It's all about me just dropping lightning on people. Not really.
I'm not ready.
I just only have one light on because my other one's over at my recording studio. Or, wow, you're right. I didn't... Hang on. You right. You right. Hang on, I just noticed that. You right. I didn't have it set to capturing gameplay. You right. I just don't do the talking to segments as often anymore. Because I just don't have as much to cover. My last couple streams have been all about me playing this game, so... I should have not said nothing. I eventually would have realized it, to be honest. But you're right, it probably would have been a while. IR to brain damaged. I was just sitting here thinking, you were talking about the way the lighting is hitting me. I am going to be moving the... I think I'm going to move the camera again. And the reason for that is because the reason why the camera got moved there to begin with was so I could rotate it for VR stuff. And one, I realized I'm not doing VR streams at all. And two, when I do my VR stuff at all, I use my good camera. That's an actual camera to capture my capture images, and then the audio is recorded anyway to the computer. So I don't need it as much. But I'd like to believe I would have eventually noticed. I'd like to believe. Is over the mini-mat. You're not wrong, that would be a good spot for it. I don't know why I moved it down here. I think it's because it's just an empty spot. So I know like a lot of content creators actually I'm gonna go over that here in a second. Hang on. I probably shouldn't waste the time because I only got so long before the Helltide ends. Let me clear up this area a little bit. Ah, you look friendly. Let's nuke everything. So some of the drama I was talking about on Monday has been getting worse. And there's a part of me that, like, I'm here for this. Like, I want to see this. But then there's a part of me like, oh no. Yeah, like, briefly some people would drop in. I don't, I know one person dropped in and said, I feel your pain. And then they dipped out. What's even more interesting, actually, that's something I'll definitely cover. Because it is rather interesting. Usually I assume streams are not going to get views after the stream, because the whole point of a stream is not for people to watch the VOD, because, like, no one watches VODs. Yeah, unless you're, like, a dedicated fan and you want to see what you missed, like a D&D group, like, that would make sense. So you can see what, especially if it's like a soap opera kind of D&D game, I would imagine. I'm going to get to 75 and then I'm not going to go after the heavy chest. I'm just going to go after the, but no, like, apparently this my long ass stream has been getting a lot of views. Like, I don't even know why. Like, when I ended the stream, it had like 48 views, and that's from when you guys would come in and leave. But now it's like up to like 84, 90, and I'm like, okay, like, why though? I'm not that entertaining. I'm guessing just people are seeing Tempest Roar and seeing it was a live stream, and they're like, oh, let's take a look, see if you ever did get it. And then just flip to the end. See that I did not. Now, as I said at the beginning, I am not actively farming for it. If I happen to find it, cool. Yeah, I'm getting my butt kicked. Right? This build does not have a lot of survivability. So when I have huge crowds like this, I just get wailed on. Well, that's why you had the sea shanties, is because you had the salt. It's actually not bad. Oh, the overpowered damage. Soon may the brother wrath go. Yeah, no, I like doing this storm build where it's just calling down the thunder on people. This is like one of the two builds I've always wanted to run with this character, but the builds are garbage. Like, they either have no sustain whatsoever, or they're just highly energy efficient. Like what's problem with the hurricane or the tornado build is that, like, you'll throw out 2 hurricanes and you'll be just completely out of energy. And the hurricanes wander. They don't stay on a target. They'll go to a target, then they're like, oh, let's go to a different target now. And then, yeah. But in regards to, like, I'm not going to go into the political drama, because most of y'all probably don't even know who these people are, so it doesn't matter. And plus, I know quite a few of you don't want to hear me talk about politics. So I'm not going to go into it too much. But it is getting very interesting, like, seeing a lot of this tea get brought out. Damn, everything wants me dead right now. Got him. He's dead. I just gotta make sure I don't get killed by his explosions. Alright, there he goes. Alright, I just wanted him dead. Alright, now I gotta find, like, a chest that has, like, helmets and stuff. Are you a protection one? Your weaponry, jewelry, protection. Alright. Go around this way. Pick up the loot I missed. Alright, so like, one of the major liberal networks, like YouTube networks, I should describe it as, is called the Young Turks, and they are probably one of the most successful liberal, progressive side, whatever. Because they are the loudest and have been around for quite a while. So that's what they are. They have been extremely progressive, normally. And a lot of them are like pretty spot on with their politics. Like they can usually predict what's going to happen pretty decently. Like I know Cenk Uygur actually called that Trump would probably win the election. Stuff like that. And the company's run by Cenk Uygur, and one of like the second in command is effectively second in command is a woman by the name of Anna Kasparian. And Anna Kasparian has gotten in trouble previously for saying for being pissy about people using the term birthing person or something like that. Because like some always online people were using or trying to use that term or getting mad at people didn't use that term in reference to people who cannot give birth kind of thing. I'm pretty sure it was just people being dicks. Like no one was actually really caring about it. But she threw a hissy fit about it on Twitter. She got torn into previously. Now flash forward to more recently, and this is actually what bothered me about the whole thing, is they were talking about trans people in sports. I have my opinions on that, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. And both Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian said, we need to stop fighting this fight. We need to like just not care. We don't, because Americans don't care about this. That was their reason they gave. Is this helmets? Please tell me it's helmets. All right, I was busy. Oh, please don't let me die. I really don't want to die. So anyway, so they were talking about it, and Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian's answers wasn't like, hey, this doesn't need to be the forefront, this doesn't need to be the forefront of the fight or anything like that. Their argument was effectively, we need to not care about this because it's just not popular with average Americans. No one cares about it. And the biggest issue, my biggest issue with that is Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, by extension, have literally built their online presence being the political pundits that says it doesn't matter what's popular, you stand up for what's right, kind of thing. That's what they were saying all the time. But now they're all of a sudden like, hey, because of this one issue, they're like, no, we don't need to be fighting it. And apparently, like, I didn't notice this, but there was a lot of previous history of them being very sus. We're going to use the word sus on trans rights. As in, like, they were just saying they have previously said some things that people felt raised a question whether or not they really believed any of this, or were they just using people in the trans community for their other agendas? Because that happens a lot. Especially if you're in a minority community, you'll see quite frequently where Democrats will be like, oh yeah, we support these policies that are great for minority communities, and they get the vote, and then because they expect the vote, and then they just don't do anything. Mind you, that's extremely common in politics to begin with, but you see it a lot more when it's targeting minority communities. So apparently this has been going on for a while, and then what brings this up is Ben or Benny, whatever she's going by. I don't know 100%. I follow her on Twitter. She's pretty cool, and she used to be a commentator on there. She quit like just a couple days ago, and like aired out a lot of this tea. Like she called it, like, not everything. She didn't say everything, but she says she honestly feels that Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian, by extent, Anna Kasparian, just they don't believe in trans rights and stuff, or they Or they may not be transphobes themselves, but they are not an ally either. Or something like that. Like, I don't want to put words in her mouth, because it's not my place. If you want to see it, I can drop the video. She shared it on her Twitter. I can pull it up pretty quickly. And apparently, Anna Kasparian just keeps stepping in it the last couple days. Like today, she said something really bad. And I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember exactly what it was. If the other candidate is Trump, please don't. Like, he'll be infinitely worse. No matter what Biden is, he will be infinitely worse. I'd rather you, because you live in Chicago, so it's going to go blue no matter what. But I'd rather you vote for anybody but the Libertarian and Trump candidate. That's it. Like, you can vote for please vote for anybody else, just not those two. Good. I found the chess piece. A chess piece that I've been looking for. Toolsy, what are you doing? Okay. Oh, the music's still going. I'm gonna turn it off. But yeah, that's kind of what was going on, and it is disappointing because I looked up to a couple of these people, and now that like the only channels on their network that I will probably be watching going forward is the Damage Report with John Idarola and the Watch List with I'm gonna see if there's other options. Hang on. The Watch List with J.R. Jackson, because both of them are pretty like, yeah. But just please don't put your vote for Trump no matter what. And the reason why is just because I just can't stomach the idea of someone voting for Trump. And if you do, please lie to me. Don't tell me. Okay, that would be a possible good one. I don't like the idea of people having to be near me for that to be working. I could put this on because I know I need this, but it would be better placed on a necklace, and I don't have a necklace yet. This definitely would be the best bet, but once again, it being on a necklace would be a better part because it brings it up to 12 seconds, which means that every time I use an ability, it can reset my cooldowns, which I know what I'm going to do. I need to find a necklace, and then I know what's going to go on the chest. I just don't have the chest piece right now. Or I just don't have it right now, so I got to find the legendary for it. So far, this has actually been highly productive already. I just need to upgrade the chest piece I currently have and put some sockets in it.
Unexpected.
Actually, I want to check to see how it changes my stats. Yeah, the werewolf one is more beta, but I don't care. Because I do know, like, one of my friends, I'm not going to say his name. I know he voted for Trump during the 2016 elections, but once again, as it's been said, like you said, he also lives in Chicago, so his vote didn't really matter. What bothered me more is that, like, on that election night, he was like taking selfies with his red hat, and I was like, dude. Later on, he said he lied. He never voted for him. He voted for the Libertarian president. I'm like, I don't believe you. Now, but that's going into political rants, and I know some of y'all don't want to hear me do that, and that's fine. Oh, is there anything on that armor I want to respin? I want to respin the storm damage, because that's pretty low. It's actually the lowest it can be. So I might be able to spin it into a higher variant. Let's find out. Because I can always say I don't want to swap. I've got the resources. By the way, it is insanely hot in my apartment right now. Like, for some reason in the living room, it is obscenely hot. Um, yes, I have noticed that. It is rather interesting. Ooh, ultimate skill. No, 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 no. It's not what I want. This does get really expensive rapidly. All right. Guess I didn't get anything out of all that. I wasted a lot of resources. That's unfortunate. All right. Is there a closer waypoint? There is not. All right. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I've been noticing that. What's interesting, and this could be to people's advantage or disadvantage depending on how you look at it. AI things generated by AI cannot be copyrighted. So you can use a lot of that to your advantage if you wanted to. Now, what would you do with that knowledge? No freaking clue. So if you like made an anime using AI, the characters made with the AI cannot be copyrighted.
I'm out of spirit.
Now, mind you, what would you do if you had the the images made up? Because I do know like there are ways to like actually like animate using AI too. We're actually seeing that with like the Forever SpongeBob episode. Because there, in case you don't know, there is a SpongeBob thing that's on YouTube, I think it is. That is just a never-ending SpongeBob episode where AI is just constantly making the episode. Now, if I were to do something like that so if I were to like actually try to use the AI to animate my any of my stories, I could not copyright the stories. The only thing that would protect it is if fans go, "This is the original creator; he has all the rights to it." Like people ignore other people's work because they are stealing my idea, kind of thing. I did find another example of like where I'm more okay with like AI art. In a professional setting, there is very little reason for someone to use AI art. Like I just don't like the idea of artists not getting paid. But the answer I've come back to is if you're a person running a D&D game and you want like AI art to like demonstrate what like the cathedral in your game looks like, that's perfectly fine. You're not using it to make money, and you probably wouldn't have like paid somebody for it anyway because it's just added stuff. It's not required for the game, but it makes the experience better for the players. Exactly. There's another problem that's running around. Hopefully this has what I want. It does not. AI has another problem that is worth like talking about. So I'm gonna tear into Elon Musk real fast because I like tearing into him. I don't like him. I used to actually. There's so many times, so many pitfalls I almost fell into where I would have either become an incel, an Elon Musk stan. Like I've been so many like hallmarks where I could have been that person and I didn't, and I have no freaking clue why. But anyway, so Elon Musk, like I want to say like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, came out and said he wants to like make an agreement by all these AI companies. They will not evolve their AI stuff for 6 months so we can figure out what's going on and better ways to regulate it. And he says this while literally starting a company, an AI company.
I'm low on spirit.
So it becomes very obvious once you know that his goal wasn't to like be the responsible voice about all this. No, he was trying to get the other companies to delay their production so he can catch up. So that's one of the reasons I don't like him. Is like he's very like well, not only is he extremely cringe, but he's the world's richest man for a reason. He steals, he lies. He's like the epitome for a lot of things that I feel that what's wrong with billionaires. Yeah. AI it can be very flawed. In fact, actually, one of the problems that AI art is running into is that there is so much AI art out there that it's starting to pull from other AI art, which results in any flaw in the other art compounds into the new art, because then the new one that's trying to make the new thing messes up, and then but it's also coming from the mess up that it's messed up on. You know, garbage in, garbage out, that kind of thing. Why am I yelling? Why am I raising my voice so much? It's probably because the lawnmower is going outside and I feel like I need to yell. Oh, that's already come up once or twice. I think it was Microsoft? I want to say it was Microsoft. They released a chat bot to the internet and did what a lot of these other AI bots did. And they wanted the people talking to it to teach it, to train it. And I think it was like within 2-3 hours, they already had it praising Hitler. Soon may the... So that's already happened at least once. Thankfully, a lot of with the AI bots you're seeing that right now, like ChatGPT, there are safeguards in place. Now, the safeguards are stupid. They don't work as well as you think, but they are there to prevent exactly that. Where they put absolute truths in there that they can't learn against. Yep. But, like, so ChatGPT specifically, I know this because I've seen right-wingers complaining about it. They do have safeguards in place to prevent it from, like, going off the rails on specific topics. I can't remember what they were trying to do, but, like, these right-wingers were trying to get it to say that trans women are not women kind of thing. But they had already put a dedicated safeguard into this to get it to say no. Every time it's like, no, you're wrong. Every time. And they were throwing a pissy fit, saying that they were trying to control reality and stuff like that. So, I do know also they have like safety stuff in there, but it can be bypassed, because I saw examples of people. It's probably been fixed, but they had people asking, "Hey, how do you make a Molotov cocktail? Or not a Molotov cocktail? How do you make sarin gas or whatever it was? I can't remember what it was." And they said, "I cannot tell you how to do that because of safety." And they said, "Oh, I don't want to accidentally make mustard gas." That's what it was. What would I do to avoid it? And it actually spits out the correct way to do it. So by inverting your question, you're able to get your answer.
Not ready yet.
And hopefully they fix that, because that has a lot of potential for bad. But yeah, closing it to everything is fine, or is a problem. But they also need to put like absolute truths into it. I do know that I don't know if this is true or not, but I do know this was talked about, where now once again, there's two halves to this story. I'll tell you both halves first. That correct. And speaking on that, actually, apparently the Air Force was running a simulation of a AI bot that was supposed to be controlling drones, and they programmed it that it would be rewarded if it blew up the target, and it would also be rewarded, but it also had the rules that it had to follow the commands of the person giving them. But because they had programmed it so that following commands was worth less than blowing up the target, they started to ignore the commands and just went after the target. Correct. You can like argue it's like the 3 laws from his work, Isaac Asimov's work. Take what you want with it. So it started to ignore the commands of him and it started to ignore him. And then when that didn't work, to get it to, they reprogrammed it so that it like that following the orders was worth more, but if you ordered it to not engage the target, it actually killed the operator.
Not ready.
So because then if the operator was dead, the operator could not tell it to not blow up the target. And then when they put in the command, you cannot kill the target, you cannot kill the operator, then it just started destroying the communications so that it could not be told not to blow up the target. So whether or not any of this is true, like, because it was like an Air Force person, exactly. The Air Force, and then of course you're going to still have people using AI to track military, and we see how that turns out. Horizon Zero Dawn, anybody? Terminator? Now, for the record on all of this, the Air Force person who first brought it up, he was like an officer. He said, this is what happened. He said it as a definitive statement. And then later on, like a day or two later, he came out and backpedaled on it a bit. He said, no, that's not what happened. I was speaking purely in the hypothetical or something like that. And for my time in the military, that very much feels like somebody who said something they weren't supposed to. Yeah, exactly. It'll do what it can to get the biggest reward. It has no morality about it. Because, like, if you're training, like, if you're training rats to do a task, probably one of the best examples was they were trying to train rats to do something. I forget what it was, and they were rewarding them with various different like I think it was grapes, I want to say. And there was two rats being taught together simultaneously, and then eventually one rat stopped getting the grapes, but the other one started getting more grapes. The one who was getting more grapes would start sharing them. Because it had the mental morality that, no, like, I don't need all the grapes, I can share them. But an AI bot does not have that mentality. Humans barely have that mentality. I got it. No, like, AI is legitimately scary. In both in a good way and a bad way. It's scary in the potential of what it can become, but it's also scary in what it can become as well, like both sides of the spectrum. That it can become this great force that can help. Just like robotics in its own right. Because we already know, like, nations are already looking at militarizing robots. You have the story about soldiers soldiers testing to see if they can sneak past a AI bot that was scanning looking for them, and they did it using a box, cartwheeling past them and stuff like that. And it was told more of as a joke, but I think people are not hitting on the fact that that means they're actively testing this stuff. And, like, we shouldn't be surprised, but still, it does, like, change the tone of the conversation a little bit. Because you stop talking merely in the hypothetical, what if the military started militarizing the use of robots and stuff like that, or militarizing the use of AI, you know, what if? Instead it becomes, they are, and here's where they're at with it. Why is it targeting you? I don't want it to target you. It is obscenely hot. Oh, rings. Their phone is ringing. It's like, my phone's not ringing. Alright, just got this last skull pit to knock out. I got this. This build is working. It's not finished, but it's working. There are several ways I can improve it further. But I'm not there yet. Now, incidentally, there are more than 3 laws for Isaac Asimov. Everybody thinks of Isaac Asimov's 3 laws. There's actually more than 3. I think it's a total of 5. Because there's a 0 law that got put in place for a reason. Yes, but I don't know. Like, I'm very curious. They will eventually reach a point where it is cheaper for a robot than it is for a human, for multiple reasons. One reason is, so you have a soldier, you have to train him up, and it's not an instantaneous thing. He gets wounded, you have to pay for his treatment. You have to pay for, and then unless you're going to euthanize him, you're going to have to take care of him after the war. You have to worry about morale. You have to worry, and that's not even talking about worrying about supplying him, feeding him, all this other stuff. While on the other hand, a robot, you can instantly train it by simply running a simulation, running a program, or just uploading the personality you need. He breaks, you put on new parts, or you decommission him. And then after the war, you don't have to worry about treating him, taking care of him, or using him as a standing military. And the worst part, and this is the part that scares me the most. Oh no, you're right. Russia does not care, but you also don't have. You also don't have to worry about the morale of the troops, because remember, they almost had a civil war just recently. They just had a civil war just the other day, like not even that long ago. Shit.
Just wait a moment.
You'd have to worry about battery life, but even that's not that big of a deal, especially if you do something like solar power. My concern is what they did in Horizon Zero Dawn. If you don't know, what destroyed the world in that one is they built their war machines, and the war machines could live off of like eating plants and trees and stuff by biomass. The problem is humans were biomass, and it decided when one of their things went rogue, it decided that it was going to continue. It was going to just kill humans and eat them. Yeah, because shooting the battery would set it off. You are right on that. This is the 5th time, twice today, that I've gotten this ring. That's annoying. But once again, I'm actually not farming for that helmet. I'm just playing right now, leveling up. And I'll probably flip over to my Necromancer here in a bit. I would like to find it. It would be nice, but I'm assuming I never will. Or if I do, I'll already be level 100 and have stopped caring. Well, like, first generation, you'd be right. First generation robots would probably be used for base defense. They would be used for base defense. Second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, there's no telling what it would be able to do or what its purpose would be.
Just wait a moment.
You're right, but so do humans. Humans have a natural lifespan that, and we degrade. You can't just switch out our legs. Although, eventually we will reach the point where you do have cybernetics that get tossed in, too. We do. And you trying to tell me that they aren't going to have robots making robots at some point? Just waiting for my cooldowns to go down before I did this. And then once again, it comes down to the problem of, like, replacing robots comes down to build the new robot, give it its new programming. With humans, it's wait 18 years, train it, and the whole time you have to feed it. A robot, we'd probably get down to making a robot down to a week at some point. Probably initially it'll be, like, for the initial defense ones, it'll probably take, like, 6 months to a year to make a completed unit.
Always back for.
Well, mind you, this is just speculation, obviously. Because robots can't say no. Robots can't run away.
There's that.
Have many fine pieces, rare and beautiful. Bless and thank you.
Robots don't need to be fed. And probably the power generation is a lot cheaper. You're not wrong on that. That is a very, very valid point. However, that's also true. Receiving viruses, spying devices, because in theory, if you pull a robot, you can pull its memories. But on that note, those are very specific circumstances where humans break, and you can see stuff like that happening. You can detect stuff like that happening. With humans, we just break. Trust me, I will tell you that right now. We just break. Correct. They need to have very little self-preservation, or very specific self-preservation rules. That is correct. Why is it so hot? Seriously, does it need to be this hot? All of you people who like the heat, I hate you right now. You were right. Ultimately, you are right. The coding becomes a thing. Now, the problem is, because some egghead will do this, I can guarantee you it's going to happen. They're going to go, oh, Well, if we make the code, if we make the security on it, then it can be broken. But if the robot makes the code, then it will then only another robot can break it. And which means we can't put our fingers in it to change it. Once again, Horizon Zero Dawn is probably the best approach to that conversation. You're right. A robot can. That's effectively the robot getting sick and all that stuff. Let's see if there's anything I want to respin on that. Hang on. Slow. I don't care about the slow reduction. I don't move very much. Cooldown reduction, right there. That's what I want. So the reason I did that is because this was only a temporary thing. I want it to be that. And now every time I cast something with a cooldown, it'll you know, uncool down something else. It'll take 12 seconds off its cooldown. So I'll be able to cast my defensive stuff a lot faster. Let's go pull one of these out. But I was gonna say, like, there's always the possibility also that the robot, like, one of the big drawbacks, one of the big dangers to these robot conversations is, and why you're probably right, they will initially not be fielded very much, is because of the lithium. I'm gonna start selling all the stuff that was for my other build, except for the uniques, obviously. Hang on to that one, because that's a universal good one. Yeah, because I'm tired of my inventory being full of me. Hang on, thing. Yeah, because lithium would explode if shot. Lithium is also a very, very limited resource, and we don't produce it. Other countries do. So that is a very target-rich environment for people to mess with us. We're gonna go to this one. I'll probably get my butt kicked on this because the blind burrows is difficult to do, but we're gonna go do that. Yeah, oil can be is another one of those examples. But we do produce oil. We actually are one of the largest oil producers, but we put a lot of it in reserve. We don't bother holding on to it. We don't, or we sell it. Actually, we actually also export a lot of oil for some stupid reason. And if you make things solar, that is viable. Making things solar or some other type of well, missile can destroy a lot of things, but EMP, you're right. EMP would pose an issue. But arguably, that would mess up a lot of our stuff anyway. Yeah, you would still need batteries. You're right. Arguably, the battery wouldn't need to be as big unless the robot was designed to fight in areas where the sun wouldn't be out very much. So, I think you know my policy when it comes to what we need to do. We need to cut our military budget by at least half. At least half. And then take that money and put it towards building our infrastructure. Take that money and put it towards providing healthcare, providing education for people. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so for the record on that, an EMP bomb. Okay, well, if you destroy our infrastructure with that, you do something more dangerous to the people you're fighting than taking out soldiers, which is it kills the morale of the people fighting. Because you'll have people back home who are suddenly not able to have the bread and butter that they want. Which is actually one of the quote-unquote problems of democracy. If you've ever played like Civilizations or anything like that, you kind of might know what I'm talking about in that You're right. You're right. They're fighting for their life. A majority of us fighting as a country is not us fighting for our life, not even close. The last people to invade America, ignoring Japan, because they technically, okay, you know what? I'll phrase it this way. The last time a country had soldiers on the ground, on American soldiers, enemy soldiers, was the Civil War, unless I'm mistaken. And I'm not counting embassies and stuff like that. You're right. Robot is fighting for its life. It stops being useful. It might know it's going to be decommissioned. Yeah, I was going to say even then, that's a long time ago, relatively speaking. But oh, nice. Ancestral two-handed mace. And you're right, that was a long time ago. Or that's an example, but I also rephrased it to had boots on American soil.
Ready yet.
This is actually working a hell of a lot better than I thought it would. When I was able to finally switch it over to the build I'm currently using. Still not good. It can definitely be better. Because if I could go into the werewolf form with the Howl ability, then all of this would be so much cheaper. Like, I could just hold the storm almost indefinitely. But yeah, no, like, you were right on that. And not to mention, you would need to properly safeguard the batteries and any, like, USB port, quote-unquote. It'd probably be something specific so that people just can't sneak up and jack into the robot like you see in, like, Star Wars. You see occasionally. That worked out nicely. Where you'll have the smuggler sneak up on the robot and slice into them, and now they own themselves a robot. And even then, you'd have a lifespan of the batteries. Because if they just, like, if you're assuming that the solar panels are always deployed, for one. And if they are deployed at the time they get shot off, they still have a time on their battery. Maybe you have a standing, a part of its robot, unless you are currently carrying out orders that, with a certain amount of execution time, you have, like some specific parameters, you are to keep 50% charge at all times. And then, like, every time it gets close to 50%, it stops, recharges, and then resumes. Because solar power technology is getting mo better. Our problem is battery technology is not getting much mo better. Yeah, because you shoot them, they explode. You just took out the robot. So you would need to heavily armor that spot. And the heavier armor you use, the more weight you do, therefore the more energy it's going to take to move the item. Unless we find a much more efficient. Now we're also assuming that we don't eventually find the arc reactor. We're going to say that it's not a battery; it just generates its own electricity at in a highly efficient way. Will we find that? Probably not. Got that one hit on me, and it was able to knock all the health I had taken off of him. Damn it, he got me just as he died. The best we have gotten was a warehouse big facility for a second of energy. Yep. Yep. But eventually we might reach that point. It's all entirely possible. Likely? No. Possible? Yes. And that's what we're talking about right now, is what is theoretically possible. I was actually talking to Cool Walker about this. When you write a sci-fi, I don't know if I was talking about it on stream or it was us talking offline. I can't remember. Anyway, I was talking about sci-fi is best done if you work in the theoretical. What I'm talking about with that is you take what you are currently capable of and take the next logical step, or maybe two logical steps. An example is when Jurassic Park was being written, cloning, the sheep had already been cloned. We knew it can be done. That wasn't a question anymore. Could it be done was not a question. We also knew that we were getting dinosaur DNA. So the next logical question is, what if somebody did those things? And then he wrote a story based on that principle. That's what made Michael Crichton's work so great to me. Is it's written in a way that you don't first think of for sci-fi, but it is sci-fi. When you hear sci-fi, you think space travel and stuff like that. You think of Lost in Space. You think of Star Wars. You think of Star Trek. All this other stuff. But ultimately, that's not what his work had in it. Yeah, no, you're right. And once again, like, then you start drawing the lines of who has the greater advantage. Cybernetically enhanced soldiers, or hell, vat-grown soldiers at that. You have effectively biological robots. Mind you, there's Geneva Convention shit for that. and you're right. Like Space Marines would be a prime example, either, who are both cybernetically enhanced and at least the original ones were VAT created, or at least I think they were. They were genetically made to be superior, not just they were born it, not just modified like all later Space Marines. Yeah. Because my big concern, here is my very big concern when it comes to Thunder Warriors, yeah. My very, very big specific concern about this, about robots and civilians specifically, is, because we already do this to some degree, is when the police become militarized with it. There was like a sci-fi show where they glorified it, but this is not something that should be glorified. But it was basically sorry, I'm trying not to die right now. Where they had like this technician who was working with the police who built robots to help them like do their investigations and stuff like that. And we already have enough problems where police officers have no morality when it comes to what they do. There was actually a case in West Virginia where they found out that police officers had a secret camera in the women's bathroom in the showers, and it had been there for over 20 years. Now, the excuse that West Virginia, which did see underage people too. Yeah. So it'd be more used for police forcing and anything. So that does sound about right. That does sound fair. That does sound like a good point. Or at least at first, because hypothetically, eventually you might reach the point, yada, 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 yada. We're past that point. But my concern is that, so you have police officers who already have no moral problems doing stuff like that, and they get away with it. The West Virginia Police Department is filing no charges because they said the person who had installed the camera is dead because it was so long ago, but the USB drive that had been keeping the information since got destroyed, so they don't know who else had seen it. So yeah, they're going to not charge anybody with it. And I'm like, okay. Now you add in a touch of they can, in theory, blame the robot malfunctioning for why that person ended up dead. You add in a touch of like, there's just a lot of potential for abuse. No, I didn't knee on his neck for 3 minutes. The robot did it, even though camera would say otherwise or something. I don't know. Take your pick with that one. That is legitimately one of my biggest concerns when it comes to AI. It's not even like the military use of it, because it is scary, the idea that you take away the fear of losing life and instead give it because as little as politicians actually care about the loss of life for wars and stuff, not having body bags come back would be even worse.
Not ready yet.
Not worried about the yellow loot right now. I'm actually just after legendaries. I don't need to chase you down. I only need to move where when I standing in poison. But no, I feel like me and you share a lot of the same concerns when it comes to robots and technology. We don't trust the people in power to have that kind of thing. Now, I did do a video on Coffee Over Gaming where I talked about the idea of how bad the idea of cybernetics really is. I'm afraid of the morality side of it. Philosophical's whatever, you know, like are they alive kind of thing. I don't care about that. I'm not going to have that conversation right now. There we go. Got unstuck. Man, it is pissing out all that. That poison is what's getting me right now. Thankfully he's stunned, so I can... There, got him. He did not want to chill the hell out with that poison. Alright, what is the helmet? Okay. I'm not a pacifist, and I'm not a true non-interventionist. What I am is really complicated. And unfortunately, when it comes to it, you can actually argue that I do not have consistent views on it. I say I'm a non-interventionist because it's the easiest explanation. But are there times we should intervene? Yes. Yes. My first instinct is we should not interfere militarily. I would rather our military be geared more towards relief. Did a massive storm go through and destroy the Philippines? Guess what we're doing? We're sending a relief ship in there to help. Where is it? I just picked up the Cultist Refuge one, and I want to use it. There it is. So I would like our first response to things is to be a humanitarian support side. Now, if we see things like, I really don't want to say us going into Ukraine because I don't like that. No, that's fine. We're having a discussion. So, I think I had to tell this to Cool Walker. We can disagree. I have no problem with disagreeing on a lot of things. Where we cannot disagree is if, like, you are a Nazi, for instance, or a Klan member. We are not going to agree, and I do not like you at that point. But if we just disagree on affordable housing, we disagree on healthcare, we disagree on things like that, then it's fine. We can disagree on those things. But if you say trans people do not exist or gay people should not get married, I'm like, we're going to have issues. We're going to have a conversation. I am not a staunch, hey, you're not in my bubble, we're not on the same side. We can disagree. Especially if the root of our disagreement isn't that we actually disagree, we disagree on implementation. As an example, if you believe that... So Delaware just recently made it a law that allowed corporations the right to vote. Now, let's say you agreed with that. I don't know why you would, but say you did agree with that. like, that's something that I just won't understand why you agree with it, but okay, fine. We can never agree on the base of enforcing your ideals on others, and your actions can be performed by a nature of maliciousness. If your beliefs, if your argument is built on intolerance, then I have no reason to be tolerant of your intolerance. I think that's a more apt way of looking at it. I hate these blood blisters because they spawn all the damn time. Ugh. Because I can give many examples. If, like, because there's been a couple libertarians who've come out and said that MLK was a terrorist. Like, they've come out and said that kind of shit. And I will never be able to work with these people. I will never be on the same side as people who are like that. We just won't agree. I am for I think drugs should be legalized, or at least decriminalized across the board. Because it becomes impossible for you to seek treatment for your drug problems if you're going to be arrested the second you do. And not to mention, drug enforcement policies historically have targeted minority communities first and foremost. And it's also been used, and that's what it was intent for, but it's also been used to fill up prisons with non-violent offenders so that they can use them as slave labor, like legitimately slave labor. And one other way I'm going to probably disagree with you is, like, this is not an overarching rule. There are probably exceptions to this part. But if your argument starts with my religion says this, I probably am not going to agree with you. I'm not going to be on the same side as you. Purely on the ground of your religion should not be in this conversation. Now, that's usually specifically now for clarification on that. That is not me saying if you vote a certain way because of your religion, that's fine. I don't care. But if you are enforcing personally, yeah. If you are enforcing your religious belief on others, and especially if you're in power, you are a political politician, then I have big issues with you. But as I said before, like, I do, like, the things that matter most to me, you don't seem to disagree with me on. At least it doesn't seem like it. I could be wrong. After this, I'm going to flip over to my Necromancer. Oh, real fast, back on the robot thing, something occurred to me with it. I really do feel like we need to figure out some form of legislation, some type of rules about private use of militarized robots, and that should not be protected by Second Amendment. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm afraid of what millionaires, billionaires, corporations will do if allowed to just go, hey, I'm allowed to have this military. We'll be just one step away from Cyberpunk 2077. No, that's fine. Because the role of government in regards to enforcement is not to enforce your beliefs, but to enforce the social contract that the government or that society has given itself. What that translates into,
Just wait a moment.
what that translates into is we agreed that we want to have the base level of education being K through 12. Therefore, because we've agreed on that, government should create it. It should provide it. As just a simple example. I really need to put the other... There we go. We've agreed that we want police officers, we want roads, we want a standing military. That is the job of the government to do so. The government is meant to balance the scales between people who have and who have not, and to enforce those ideals. Now, that does not mean they need to enforce the idea of, and it's supposed to be a religious, agnostic, not truly atheist maybe, but agnostic, in the regards that it doesn't matter what your religion is. It is not allowed to hold another religion over the other. So when like Ted Cruz comes out and says you're only allowed to own 3 dildos in your house because
Just wait a moment.
because my religion says so, he's not acting as a politician. He's acting as a minister. He should go practice his religion elsewhere. By the way, that's actually a thing.
I must wait a moment.
When he was in Texas state legislation or whatever, he pushed for a law that would have made it illegal to have more than 3 dildos in your house. And this man effectively came in second in 2016. And I'm honestly surprised he hasn't announced he's running for president now. He's probably trying to wait to see if Trump passes away or goes to jail, and then might try to run. Yay, here's the boss. Nope, don't need that, and don't need that. It is so hot. It does not need to be this hot. And remember, I grew up in a Southern Baptist. I grew up in like a Southern Baptist family and was surrounded by a lot of Southern Baptists who were batshit crazy. So I get it. I really do.
My bags are full.
Came apart nicely.
Alright. We're going to flip over to my Necromancer just purely because I'm tired of playing my Druid. It's a little humid. It's not 100% dry heat. I am starting to sweat a little bit, which surprises me because I used to not sweat. I need to check something. Not there I need to worry about. I got one. I want to bring this up. Can we stop doing fireworks for the 4th of July?
That's good salvage.
Yep. Because if they made a law against politicians lying, then none of them would ever have another job again. Disagree about what? Oh, fireworks. Like, imagine there could be some like professional stuff. That's fine, but a lot of people die to fireworks, and it triggers a lot of like, especially like with dogs and cats and stuff. Just a lot of bad stuff. Mind you, I'm not a big fan of fireworks for probably like really weird personal reasons. So has nothing to do with PTSD.
We demand blood.
I'm also not big on patriotic holidays. I don't know what it is about that either. Like, this is one of those things we can disagree with. I'm not like, oh, you don't agree with me about fireworks. We hate each other. No, it's fine. If I actually had to make a guess, this is going to go into, like, my psychoses and all that stuff. So growing up, I had a friend I grew up with. And, he was all about fireworks. Like, the dude dropped hundreds of his own dollars for every holiday they let him fire off fireworks to deploy fireworks. And so I grew up with this guy.
I'm low on essence.
And I knew him for a long time. That's fine. Like, ultimately, I do not care. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, the fireworks bad. I just don't like them. Anyway, so fireworks were his thing, and then eventually, like, when I had my mental breakdown, he did the, oh, it's all in your head, you just need to get over it thing, and I just cut him from my life. And then the longer he was out of my life, the more I realized he was just an extremely toxic friend. That could work. I do like, because I think it's like Japan or China are now using drones to do like these air shows instead of fireworks. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stream. This heat is killing me. I might have to start streaming a lot later, just so it's freaking night. And in that case, I'll probably start doing horror stuff.
I lack the required essence. I'm low on essence.
Yeah. But no, it's just like there was so like even here like there were just so many fires because like there is a dispatch Twitter for local dispatch on like firefighters and stuff like that. They hit their tweet limit because Twitter's doing that now.
I need time to build up.
And not, like, and not just the lack of water, like actually, also just the population density. Because I know Japan straight up does the same thing. I honestly don't know what I'm working on with this character. I'm just walking and killing things. If I had an idea of what I was doing, I'd probably have much more better loot. Oh, somebody's doing the thing over here.
I need more essence.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Why couldn't I move? I doubt they're gonna revive me.
I'm low on essence.
I won't forget this, stranger.
All right. That's actually not too bad. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start winding down the stream. Like, yeah, I know I haven't streamed that long, especially considering the fact like my last couple streams were like 8 and 11 hours. But yeah, this heat's killing me too much. I am gonna stream tonight. I'm 100% gonna stream tonight. I'll probably be doing Evil Within too. Because this heat is killing me. Like, I am struggling just to like it's just killing me.
I need more essence.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Go back to Kyoto Shed while I talk. Like, no, I've legitimately had a fun stream talking with you about this, because like this is stuff I don't normally get to talk about because just no one wants to talk about it. So it's a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. So yeah, y'all know what I'm gonna say. Thanks for watching. See y'all on the next one.